Okay, hello everyone, welcome back. So we're just going to continue from where we stopped. I am just hoping that I'm audible and you can see my screen as well. So yeah, okay, so I'm just going to open a new script. Make sure you work with the question that we have posed, and then I'll when we have time at the end, I'll try and show you how to join, let's say, 3 tables, just a case whereby you have 3 tables that you need to join, or join a table that don't have matching column. Yeah, so I'm creating a new SQL script file, and with this script file we're going to be learning how to create stored procedures. Yeah, so a stored procedure a stored procedure is a prepared SQL code that you can save so that the code can be reused over and over again. Yeah, so you're storing, for example, the line of code we just ran. Probably you might need that line of code, yeah, or just a similar one, maybe edit it in a different way. Other than rewriting the whole code once more, that's where the stored procedure comes in. So if you have an SQL query that you write over and over again, save it as a stored procedure, and then you just call it to get the output. Yeah, so this is the syntax for creating a stored procedure. We have the delimiter, create procedure, we have the procedure name, then you give it the name. The reason we have the procedure name section is because when you're calling it, you're going to call it as per the name you're going to give it here. Then we have begin, you have declaration, and then we have in between begin and the end, that's where we're going to be writing the command, the SQL command. For example, if you want the select all from employees, you're going to write it here. If it's any other information, that's the same location you're going to write. Then you have your end and the output. Okay, we have a description just to help understand what is the procedure name, declaration section. We have the execute section. On the other hand, we will need to call out the stored procedure, and you call it by its name. For example, call is the function, and then the procedure name you're going to be typing at this point. Yeah, so let's go ahead and create a stored procedure and then call it to see whether we're going to get the output. Okay, so you can write down every command that we have said. For example, we said we have delimiter, then create procedure, and then you give it a name, and then you have begin, you start typing the codes, and then you end the command. Otherwise, so that probably you don't know how they follow, how the commands follow, you can come here where we're having our table. For example, we're having employee database, we have the view, and then we have where we're going to be seeing our stored procedure here. Yeah, so if I click on it, I'm going to right click on the same stored procedure. I'm selecting it, so I'm selecting stored procedure, right click on it, and then we have an option for create stored procedure. It just gives you the structure of how a stored procedure looks like. So I'll just click on it, and it's opening this tab whereby we have create procedure, then you're supposed to type the procedure name here, then you begin and end. Yeah, and then one thing you realize is that we don't have the run button here. We don't have the run button here where we are having the stored procedure currently. So you can either copy it now, paste it in the SQL file, where you can be able to edit it, other than just editing the already this snippet of how a stored procedure looks like. So let's type our own codes. We're going to use create, then procedure. We have create. Okay, let me just do this. I'll just create enough space. I'm hitting enter a number of times. I'm just hitting enter a number of times to just create space. Oh god, let me just remove the alt, enter. Yeah, better. So then I'll create function, and what I'm creating here is a procedure. So I have create procedure. So I have the procedure keyword. So create procedure, then the procedure name, you give it a name. Let's say we call it all employees. So I have all employees, or you can just use underscore employees. Yeah, we have all employees. That's the name of our procedure name, employees. Okay, then we add the opening and closing quotes. The reason we are adding this is because we are saying that this all employees contains something within it. Yeah, you don't have to type anything in there, you just leave it at that. Yes. Does anybody have a question? Okay. Okay, so we are creating a procedure. Its name is all employees. I'll hit enter after I've mentioned on the name that I want the procedure to be. Then I can start typing begin. Now after the begin function, that's when you start typing the command that you want to work with. So for example, maybe I want to select all from the employees table. I just write a normal command line, like just the way we say. Let's say select all using asterisk from employees. Select all from employees table, and then just as normal or as usual, you should end the command line with a semicolon. I'll hit enter and then type employees. It seems okay. Anyway, let's continue. See, so we have select all from employees, then you use the function end. That's the end of the function, but we have to add some few things. Like for example, right now you can see we have written our commands, yeah, but we're having an error where we're having the X buttons. So we are going to add a command just as earlier you saw. We begin by delimiter and then add double and. So we have delimiter, and then two double signs, two and, just like that, and our error is gone. So we're having the delimiter, the create procedure, the name of the procedure, and then we have begin, we have select all. This now is the command that we are storing in a stored procedure, and then the end. Yeah, okay, sometimes you may put, like you can see in a command line, we say you can add with a and add double after the end we have the double and then delimiter. The reason I didn't add is because I realized my command line is okay, and sometimes it leads to an error. Okay, let me go ahead and add that. So add double signs to add double signs. You can see the command line is still okay. Hit enter and then type delimiter in the semicolon. Oh, I typed it wrongly. Delimiter and then the semicolon. So you're having an error where we're having the delimiter information. So you can just opt it out. It won't affect your command line. Okay. Yeah, just that way. I run the command. I'll run my entries here. You can see down here it have been successful. So sometimes when after creating a stored procedure and try to click enter, it may lead to like a continuation. So make sure you end with the semicolon. To call a stored procedure, you use the function call, and then the name of the stored procedure. In this case we have all employees. That's the name of our stored procedure. So we have all, we just type the way it is, all underscore employees. So anytime you call a procedure, you're supposed to get the output even without typing anything else, as far as it was earlier created. I execute that. Okay, this is what I was talking about. See what's telling me down here in the message error. I've gotten an error and it says procedure all employees already exist. Of course you can create a procedure twice, but just I don't know, I've experienced this error previously, so I'm trying to run the call function, but all I'm getting is the procedure. It's like I'm using the execute button for a line, but it's executing everything. Like it's like this section is part of the space below here. So what I'm going to do, I'll add a new SQL script and then call it in a different. I'll copy and paste this in a new SQL script area and then call it. So I'm running the command call all employees, and then I run that, and just a moment, and we are getting the entire output. The reason we're getting an error when running it here, I don't know how this space is connected with the procedure. I'm not sure, but maybe I should research on that. So anytime you call a procedure, just look another space, because it will keep on recreating the created procedure, and you don't want that. So let's create a different procedure. This is what I'll do. I'll create with a long line of commands. I won't type it. I'll use the already existing one. So we have delimiter, then we're using the double and, create procedure, give it a name. Create procedure, and type procedure. So create procedure, and then we have the procedure name. The procedure name, I want to store this command that we wrote, the longest one. This one. Okay, I'll call it employee status. So employees underscore status. Managers, employees, just managers. I'll call it managers. Yeah, just that, and close the space with quotes, and then I start by using the function begin. So assume I was extracting this information. This is the line of command that I ran, I run frequently, so I use it over and over again. So I'm just going to copy, and I'm pasting it so that I will store it as a stored procedure other than writing it over and over again. So I've typed it in between here. We have select employee number, first name, last name. In a case when the department manager has this employee number, that they exist, they are managers, else they are just normal employees. We add that the case from, we join the table, and so on. So these are long. You can in fact have the longest code in here. You store it, and then you can always call it if you need the output. So I'll click on enter. Then after that we have our end function. End, and then the semicolon. So I'll create this procedure, but to get the output I will not be needed to write this line, the whole of this line of command. I'll just call the name managers and I get the output. Let me run that. So we have created a stored procedure called managers. So let me call it. Of course I don't want to experience an error down there, so use the function call and then the procedure name managers. Was it that way? Let me just check. The procedure name is managers. Yeah. So if I call this function, I'm supposed to get the previous output we got, whereby we have employed managers and employees alone. So I'll execute that. Just wait for it to fetch the output. So I'm getting the output, yeah, and having that I stored my line of commands, all I need now is call it and get the output necessary. Yeah, I hope that's clear. Anybody having a question? Hello Paul, can you hear me? Yes. Okay. The stored procedure. Okay, maybe you can just do an extra explanation on what the stored procedure is. So the stored procedure basically is helping us if there's a line of command that you uses multiple times. Other than creating it today, you create it tomorrow, you create it the following day, you will just need to store it like a stored procedure. Then anytime you need you come to SQL or Open SQL, you'll not need to create it once more. Let me show you something. In the employees area where we're having our schema, we have class, we have employees. So I'll just right click and refresh this page. So let me right click and refresh all, minimize the table. Once you refresh, you realize you have a button added just next to the stored procedure. So you expand it, you can see we have the stored procedure we created. You have created all employees, was the first stored procedure we stored, and then the current one, managers. That means once we create a stored procedure, it is stored within our area here. So even after closing or leaving SQL, you don't need to come and run the create procedure code. You can even delete it as far as you created the stored procedure. Then you can come and call the stored procedure using the function call, then the name of the stored procedure, and you're going to get the output. This is the syntax. You start with the delimiter, the AND function, create procedure function to create a stored procedure. You give it a name, any name depending on the state procedure that you're storing. After the begin function, you can write any function you ever created, can be created here. Any type of SQL function that you could want to extract, you can always write it here. It doesn't matter how long, as long as it is correct, it is not having errors. You can always type it here. You can select first name, last name from employees where first name is John. Yeah, you can always, in between begin and end, this is where you type an SQL query, normal SQL query, and edit with a semicolon. And this SQL query is what you're storing. This is what you're storing, because you don't want to rewrite it over and over again. You are storing it so that you don't need to come and write the whole sentence, select employee number and so on. You'll just call the managers, you call managers, and then you get the output just as it is within here, and then you make sure you end with the end function. Is that okay now? Yes. Okay. You can create, you can create it here, give it a name, but now the problem is, and save it. But now the problem is, for example, if you are creating a procedure whereby the function in here you haven't tested it earlier on, you don't have an option of maybe checking that at this point, unless you're copying an already ran a line of query and you just want to create a stored procedure. You create it here. Yes. Okay, I hope you're all good at that. The last part, okay, not the last, almost the last, we're going to learn how to use the import and export. Remember, we opened our employees table by using the OpenSQL script, but you can also use the import tab to import a database into SQL. Yeah, and this is how we're going to do it. On our menu tab, we have File, Edit, View, Query, Database, Server. So you click on Server and you'll see an option for data export and data import. Yeah, so data export is when you want to export an already created data. For example, we created a database class, yeah, here in SQL. So if you want to export it, you just click data export. It opens an area. So you choose the schema you want to export. You want to export the class because that's what we created. Once it's checked, I want to illustrate on a number of things down here. Let me see if I can reduce this. Oh god, yes. Okay, that's better. So we are having an area here down here. Apart from the area we are selecting our database that we want to export, we have some areas here that are very, very important whenever you are exporting a database and you to understand what is the difference. For example, just below the second box, so we have the first box containing our schemas. That's why we're having class, employee, and sys. We have the second box. Just below it, you'll see just a small box with a drop down. If you click on the drop down, I hope you can see my mouse. Yes, if you click on that drop down, the box is written dump data structure, dump structure and data by default. So if you click on that drop down, you will see a number of entries within it, a number of options. That's what I want to help you understand. Why do we have dump data structure? Why do we have all the other included? So what happens if you select on the first one, the one we are currently having, dump data in the structure, it is going to save our class, yeah, database, but it will save both the table structure and the data rows. Yeah, I hope you understand what a data structure is. We are storing the structure of the data. In this case, for example, you when you create a table, you following you have a table which is having a database which is having more than 2 tables. In our case, I can't remember we have how many tables. Of course, we have a number of tables within it, and the tables have a structure they are following. Yeah, each table has its own structure, and as a schema as well, it has a structure. So if you choose on the option for data dump structure and data, it will save both the table structure and the data row. Yeah, when you choose the dump data only option, it will only save the inserted rows in a table. The only thing that will be saved with this option is the rows, and when you save with the last option, it will only save the structure, and it won't save your record entered. It won't save the rows. So it's always good to make sure, if you want both of them, your option here is dump data structure, structure and data. Another thing that's most important, just down here, do you have a scroll bar? I can't see one. Let me just try to do this, or I should hide it completely. Yes, so we have an area we're having on the right, near on the left side of the screen, there's a small circle highlighted blue which is selected. It's written export to dump a project folder, and then we have a second down it saying export to self-contained file. I hope you can see those two icons there. I want to explain what both of them what they mean. So with the first one, when you export your data to dump project folder, what will happen is that it will save the tables separately. Yeah, other than, for example, we have a number of tables within the class database. So if you save using the first option, each table will be saved as a file by itself. Probably, I'm sure you don't want to have that. And then the second, export to self-contained file, it will store all the database and the table in a single SQL file. So it's always recommended you save as you export to self-contained file, so that your work is saved as one single SQL file, other than the previous where you're going to have multiple SQL files. That's the difference. And then once that's done, you can just click. Of course, once you have selected the export to self-contained file, you can see the path next to it. I'm having C, and then user, we have PC, we have document, and then dumps. That's the way to accessing the path to accessing this file if I save it. For example, you might not be okay with the path. You can change it using the 3 dots at the end. The 3 dots at the end, you click on it, it takes you to your computer, and you can choose definitely a new path where you want to save your work. So I'll just leave the current one at default, where I'm having document dumps and then the file name, and then you click start export. At times, if you don't see this button, start export, I'll take you back to the area where we're having the name export, data export. We're having data export. I hope you can see my mouse. We have data export, this bold big name. Below it there's a section saying export progress. So if you click on export progress, it makes the start export button active. It is if it wasn't, but if it's visible, you can go ahead and click start export and your work will be exported. Yeah, so just give it time and you'll get a message saying export completed. So you have exported your data into your computer and you can access it anytime. Yeah, that's on data export. The same procedure is used to import data using the import tab. You go to server, you go to data import, you'll see the same view of the data import. So we're starting with import options, where we're having import from dump file folder. If you import with this, it will import your files as 3 different files. So it's always good you import it as a self-contained file, so that you import it as one file. Yeah, then once that's done, go ahead and click the 3 dots at the end after the path. You click on the 3 dots, you locate your database. For example, the employee database that we were using, you locate it, then you click on start import. And one thing you realize, just before the start import button, you'll see a similar box to which we earlier had, whereby we're having dump structure and data with the same information as the previous. They start for the same. If you import, it import the data structure in the table. If you import with using dump data only, it will import only the rows. If you import dump structure only, it will import the structure alone without the rows. So it's always good to make sure you are importing dump structure. You can't hear me? Hello? Yes, can you hear me? Oh God, so what could be the issue? Just a minute. Hello, can you hear me now? Okay, let me rejoin. Hello, can you hear me? Hello? Okay, thank you. Let me reshare my screen because I'm like, I lost that. Thank you for that. Just a minute, I reshare my screen. Okay. Oh my God. Can you see my screen? Hello, can you see my screen? Okay, thank you. So as I was saying, the same steps followed when importing, exporting, they are the same key steps that you should consider when you are importing. Both exporting and importing, you consider these rules. 1, you import a file as a self-contained file, so that you import your data or export it as one SQL file. Yeah, then you make sure you're importing both the data and the structure. Then you click on the start import button here, and if it isn't visible, you can go ahead and click just under where we're having data import icon. You can go ahead and click import progress option just below it, and you will be able to see the start import button, which is on the lower right corner of the screen. Yeah, and you are able to import the data. That's on data import. I hope it's clear. I wanted to do something quick before time ends. I wanted to show you something. I wanted to show you how to join tables, to join more than 2 tables. Yeah, just in case you encounter this in future. I'm going to be giving a project that we're going to be working on before we continue in the next step of machine learning, I guess. Yeah, something like that. So I'm going to be extracting. Okay, let me just start the table itself. Okay, I'm going to be extracting. I need the employee's first name, last name. Of course, you have to have employee number. I hope I'm audible. So let me do that. Select. So what am I doing? Select. Why am I not typing? Select. Sorry for that. Select. Okay, I just feel that. Okay, Bill. Hello, Bill. Can you hear me? Thank you. Okay. So I'm selecting one employee number. So I'll have employee number, first name and last name, and they're coming from the employees table. So I'll just type the way we have been doing: e.emp number. Sorry, e.emp number. Emp number, then a comma, e dot first name, just to indicate that we're getting this table from the employees table, and lastly e dot last name. So I want to extract this, and the other thing I want to extract is the department name. I want to know what department are these employees working. So to get the department name, I'll get that from the department table. Yeah, so I can just abbreviate department name table as D. So I'll add a comma, then use D dot depth name. You can see down here where we're having the department column name, it's written as depth underscore name. Yeah, then you can go ahead and type from where are you getting this data. One thing you will note, we are having department name and department number in the department table. In the employees table, we don't have either of those. So that means these two columns don't have a matching records. I'll take you back to where we earlier did what do we call it, an ER diagram. So let me come up with an ER diagram. You go to database, reverse engineer, then you make sure the stored connection is root. For me, because I'm working at the root connection, I'll click on next. I'll choose the database, or the schema rather, that's the employees. I'll click on next. Once the retrieval is successful, click next. What I'll do here, I'll uncheck. I can see I have import my SQL table object. Then we have my SQL view object and my SQL routine object. So I'll uncheck view and routine. They both contain 2 objects and 2 are selected. We don't need that. We want our structure of the 6 objects, and the those are the tables that are selected as well. I'll execute. Once the operation is complete, I'll click on next and finish. So let me show you our stored procedure. Our ER diagram. This is how our ER diagram looks like. So we have I want to extract data from department table. Where is the department table? Here is the department table. At the same time, I want to extract data from employees table. Yeah, but you can see they are not joined. The employee table is here. They don't have any line linking them because they don't have any matching column. But if I put my mouse, okay, that's department employee, then we are having that one under the employees area. We have that to salaries, one to department employee, another one to titles, and this is linking department name. Okay, let me just do something. Let me rearrange this so that every line is visible. I can't fully even tell how these lines are. So this taking department to department manager, and then we have department to department employee. But one thing you realize, we are having a line linking department to department manager, and then we have this department to department employee. Then let me just make changes to this. I'm just moving it around. On the employee, we have 2 links, one to department employee and another one to salaries. Yeah, so the link between employee and department, it's not there because we don't have any matching column. Yeah, but you can see we can link our data from department to department table, department manager table. Then we link it up to employee, so that we are going to have we call what do you call it, an intermediary table. We are not extracting it from it anything. All we need to do is get this matching column and join the 3 tables. Okay, I was just giving an overview of how the structure looked like. Back to the roots. So I'm selecting employee number. We have first name, last name. Okay. Okay. I believe that's better. Okay, so I'm saying you're selecting employee number from employees table, first name, last name, and department name. And these 2 columns, department and employees table, don't have a matching column. So what we're going to be doing, we're going to use an intermediary table to join the 2. And our intermediary table here can either be department employee, department employee, or department manager table. The reason I said these 2 is because department employee contain both employee number and department number. And in our case here, what we have in in our case we have department number. So we are looking for a table that contains department number and employee number. That's an employee number from the employees table, and the table that contains both of them is department employee to have employee number and department number. Department manager also contain both of them. Yeah, so you can use either of them. So did I write this? I guess not. So I was extracting from where are we extracting this data? One, from employees table. Okay, I don't know whether I'm still audible. Let me check on. Hello, can you hear me? Okay, thank you. So we're extracting this from one employees table, so I'll just choose employee and make sure I write the abbreviation for employees table is E. Yeah, then after that I'm going to join. In this case, unless you're sure of what table you want to write and left join, remember I mentioned yesterday about the use of natural join. Yes, yes. Okay, it's not moving. Okay, yeah, I can see that. Okay, let me reshare. I don't know. Yes, that's better. Is it okay now? Okay, I've typed join. Can you see that? Yeah, so I'm using join, and we say this is called natural join. That means you're not left joining, you're not right joining, you're not inner joining, you're just joining the tables. So I'm using the join, and then let me hit enter so that I don't have a long line. I'm joining employees table, but I won't join with department table. Reason, they don't have matching column. Yeah, so I'll join with, let's say, department employee table. So what I'll type here, let's type department employee. So we have department employees table. Yeah, you can give it an abbreviation. Let's say E, or not E, DE. Yeah, D for department employment dot department employee table. So we said you can abbreviate any abbreviation here, so I'm just abbreviating the D for department and E for employees table. Then after that you specify the matching column in this table, so use the on function. Yeah, so on the matching column here is employee number, so I'll have E dot emp number is equals to DE dot emp number. Both tables have emp number. I hope I wrote that right. So yeah, then after that, remember we haven't joined the table containing department name, so here is what we use, another join. So we're joining more than two tables, and you join them using join functions. So you're joining the third table, and the third table will be joining from the department employee table and then department table. Yeah, so we're joining D dot, did I use D? Yes, D for department, D dot department table, D dot departments, yeah, D dot departments on the matching column in department table and department employee and that is department number. So I'll have DE dot dept number yeah, is equals to D dot debt number. Any question? Okay, I hope you're good. So let's see. Yes. Mm-hmm. 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 Okay, the abbreviation, it will basically help us when we are equating here, so that when we are specifying where the matching column is coming from, you don't have to type the whole name, department employee, department emp. That's why we are abbreviating it. Yes. Oh, okay, I get you. Okay, yes, I can see the error where I'm having an error. I'm not supposed to use DE dot department employee. I'm supposed to type department employee and then type the abbreviation up after that. This way, let me show you. This when specifying the column, I'm having department employee. Here is where I'm supposed to type DE, the abbreviation that I'll be using for. Yes, I hope that's better. Yeah, I'll do the same under the department area here. I'm not supposed to have D dot department because the table I'm supposed to have the department name, then the abbreviation, just the same way we did for employee. We have employee name, table name, then abbreviation, then the department table, then the abbreviation. The same for departments and the abbreviation. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, let's execute and see. Yes. Mm-hmm. 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 Okay. Yes. Okay, I get you. What happens, you're supposed, this is how the joins for more than 3 tables. You can have even 4 joins. What happens, you're supposed to join the first table with the second table, that the first and the second table should have a matching column. Then the second table and the third table should have a matching column, the third and the fourth. So the protocol is like first table, second table, third table, fourth table. You get? Hello, Sandra. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, we have, yeah, department number, because department and department employee, they are having a common column, which is department number. There isn't. Let me check. We have under departments, we have department number. Mm-hmm. 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 Yeah, and I've said on that note whether the arrangement matters. I've said you are joining, the first table in our case is employees table, the second table is department employee, right? So we are joining employee and department employee because we have a common column. Then we go ahead and join the same now department employee with department table, so that they'll have joined now department employee, employees, department employee, and then departments. Like they have to link up because as their common column follows. Like you can't have department before department employee. The reason is because we don't have a matching column between departments and employee. Hello Sandra, did you get that? Okay, let me execute. Okay, let me execute that, see whether I'm having any error. Okay, I'm definitely getting an output limited to 10 because here I edited it to limit to 10. So let me remove that. I run it once more. Yeah, and I have a long list. So I hope the rest we are able to do so. So let me just try and understand Sandra's question, then we close. That will be our final query. Yes, Sandra, I'm back to you. What are you asking? Hello Sandra. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we are we are supposed to join to the departments table, but department table and employee don't have a matching column. They don't have any column that is matching, so we're using department employee as an intermediary table. You realize we are not extracting anything from the department employee table. We are just using it as an intermediary table to help us join employees and departments table. Yeah. Okay. Is anybody else having a question? I'm at a hurry, at the same time needed to do something. Any question? Okay, just in case you experience any error or issue, you can always reach out. That's the final class for SQL. I'll be setting a project that you're going to be working it through next week before we begin the next session that's supposed to follow. Okay, definitely more communication will be made on what next step and what to do, but yeah, that's the final class for SQL. Otherwise, have a nice evening.